In a show filled with godlike mages and ancient old elves, it's incredibly easy to overlook the guy who's just swinging an axe. Stark is, without a doubt, the most underappreciated character in Frieren Beyond Journey's End. For much of the first season, he was viewed by many as a comic relief, but with season 2 currently airing, Stark finally gets some time to shine for himself, and I'm all here for it. To understand Stark, we first have to understand what he's running away from and its expectations. Throughout his life, Stark has been defined by the roles other people have tried to force on him. His father, a warrior, expected his son to be equally fearless. When Stark showed hesitation and fear, he was deemed a failure. Later, when he took up residence in a new village, the townfolk projected the role of the hero onto him. They just expected him to protect them from the local dragon. In both these situations, Stark's flaw surfaces. He flees from the physical battle, but he also flees from the expectations he never chose for himself. This dynamic is incredibly common in the real world too. Be it friends or family or work, whenever you are forced into a position you didn't choose, every action is driven by that fear of not being able to live up to these standards. This forced responsibility follows him even into Frieren's party. There is a pivotal scene in the cave filled with magic nullifying gems. With their magic completely disabled, Frieren plainly states, "Here we are just girls." She is establishing a physical dynamic and explicitly stating that she expects Stark to step up and protect them. Once again, a role is placed on his shoulders. But this time, the environment around him is different, which allows Stark to respond differently than he did before. Frieren and Fern do not treat Stark the way his father or the villagers did. They don't expect him to be fearless, they just expect him to be reliable. This allows Stark to step into a new role, a provider. Early in season 2, we see Stark only be able to catch a small fish, and then he promises the girls that he will catch a bigger one later. Then later on, he keeps fishing and he secures more food. This act seems insignificant, but it serves a purpose in the group dynamic. It allows Frieren and Fern the downtime to relax and take a bath by the river. During this quiet time, Fern takes the opportunity to clean the accessories that she was gifted by Stark and Frieren, two people that she values the most. This ritualistic cleaning is beautiful because it strengthens the group's dynamic on an emotional level and gives tangible meaning to their connections. But that moment of peace is only possible because Stark is willing to do the dirty work. He doesn't have a problem carrying their bags, providing them with food, or even protecting them in battle physically, but Stark does some emotional labor too. Fern struggles deeply to express and control her own emotions, which frequently ends in her fighting with Stark. In a lesser story, the male warrior would have maybe just succumbed to his false pride, but Stark receives advice from older figures like Kraft and Sein, and they're giving him the whole happy wife, happy life spiel. But honestly, the main advice that he takes away from it is to discard his own ego. Instead of just demanding respect, Stark is empathetic to Fern's struggles. He takes the lead in resolving the conflicts, apologizing and offering stability to her so that she feels safe. For the first time in his life, Stark is in an environment in this group where he is allowed to be human and portray his flaws and insecurities. Now, responsibility only holds meaning when it is chosen. If Stark just goes along with Fern and Frieren because he has nowhere else to go, then where's the meaning of that? The narrative recognizes this, and that is why it introduces Wirbel. Wirbel offers Stark a way out. He gives him the opportunity to leave Frieren's party behind and work for him, which is a chance to become a respected warrior on an entirely different path. When Wirbel asks Frieren if he can try to persuade Stark, she agrees. She agrees because she understands Stark's situation perfectly. She knows that for Stark to truly grow, he must have the agency to leave. Frieren trusts Stark with her life, but more importantly, she trusts his heart. Stark ultimately declines Wirbel's offer. He decides to stay with Frieren and Fern, and that ultimately sets his path in stone. We see the thematic payoff of this choice throughout season 2. Consider the hero of the South, a symbol of self-sacrifice who willingly took on a deathly responsibility for the good of others. Or consider the royal Dach family, who took on the generational responsibility of protecting the demon sword. Because all of these characters are shown to choose a heavy burden, their villages are allowed to develop in prosperous cities. The show repeatedly tells us that willingly accepting a heavy burden creates life and prosperity. And Stark embodies this as well, when he saves Fern from a demon sword attack, after which, taking the hit, he just assures her that That is what frontliners are for. Stark has matured from trying to be the sword that his father wanted him to be. Instead, he expresses the role of being the shield for his party that he chose to be. Now, funnily enough, for a warrior character, his biggest payoff actually doesn't come on a battlefield, but instead it comes during a date with Frieren. During their date, we see Stark completely out of his element. He fails multiple times to meet her expectations. Most notably, he fails to buy her the necklace that she really wanted. Now in the past, this kind of failure would have paralyzed him. The old Stark, the one terrified of not living up to others' expectations, would have panicked and maybe even abandoned the date. He would have acted out of a sense of self-preservation, trying to fix the mistake so that he doesn't get yelled at. But look at how he actually behaves. He doesn't act out of a fear of failing, he acts out of a want to succeed. He takes on the responsibility of arranging an enjoyable date, not to protect his own ego, but to simply be there for Frieren because he wants to make her happy. Despite her anger issues and his clumsiness, there is a mutual need for acceptance. This date ultimately is successful because his personal motivation for going there in the first place has shifted. He's not trying to avoid punishment. He's trying to bring joy to someone he cares about. And she can feel that, which is why in the end both of them are happy. Stark is such a great character to me because yes, he is terrified and clumsy and he makes mistakes and you should think that he is a coward, but ultimately he always tries to show up anyway, and he does so out of his own accord. Yes, he is the weakest fighter, but he carries the heaviest emotional burden of all of them. He takes on the responsibility so that the others can be happy. That is why Stark is one of the best written characters in the entire show. And that is exactly the reason too why Frieren said that she trusts Stark with her life. What do you think? Do you also think that Stark had such a glow up in season 2, or did you like him from the very beginning? Let me know in the comments. Also, please subscribe to the channel and like the video, it means more than you know. Thanks for watching. Oh, and if you want to know how the rest of the characters act around him, check out my video on Frieren's character arc right here.